She called me pathetic in front of everyone I was trying so hard to impress, and the room went dead silent except for her mother's soft gasp. That was the moment I realized 8 years of my life had just been reduced to a punchline at a family dinner table. My name is Ethan. I'm 34 now, a structural engineer living in Portland, Oregon. Back then, I was 31, working long hours on bridge retrofit projects, coming home smelling like wet concrete and coffee. Mia and I had been together since we were 23, college sweethearts who moved across the country together so I could take a job with a firm that actually paid enough to start paying off our loans. We rented a small craftsman house in the Alberta Arts District, painted the kitchen a soft sage green together, adopted a rescue mutt named Juno who still sleeps at the foot of my bed. 8 years of shared grocery lists, joint tax returns, quiet Sunday mornings reading the paper in bed. 8 years of me believing we were building something permanent. But somewhere along the line, the emotional distance crept in like damp rot you don't notice until the floorboards give way. Mia started staying later at the graphic design studio where she worked. She'd come home, kiss my cheek, and disappear into her phone while I cooked dinner. Conversations shrank to logistics. Who was buying dog food? Whose turn to call the plumber? Intimacy became a calendar item we both quietly stopped scheduling. I told myself it was normal, that every long-term couple hits this plateau. I told myself if I just kept showing up, kept being steady and kind, the warmth would come back on its own. The betrayal wasn't another man in our bed. It was colder than that. It was realizing I had become background scenery in her life. It all shattered on Thanksgiving weekend, 2023. Mia's family lived in a small town outside Madison, Wisconsin, cornfields in every direction, a big white farmhouse that smelled like wood smoke and cinnamon. Her parents still hosted 30 people Thanksgivings. Cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents crammed around folding tables that stretched from the dining room into the living room. I'd flown out with her every year since we started dating. I knew everyone's names, their stories, which cousin was getting divorced, which uncle had beat cancer. I brought Oregon wine, helped carve turkeys, fixed the wobbly banister without being asked. I thought I belonged. That year, Mia's 92-year-old grandmother, Gram, had come from the assisted living facility for what everyone quietly acknowledged might be her last big holiday. Gram was tiny, sharp as ever, with silver hair pinned in a perfect bun and eyes that missed nothing. She'd always liked me, called me the steady one, squeezed my hand when Mia wasn't looking and whispered, "Take care of our girl." Thanksgiving dinner was chaos in the best way. Kids running underfoot, plates clattering, laughter overlapping. I was at the adult table with Mia, her parents, her older sister Lauren, Lauren's husband, and Gram at the head in her wheelchair. Conversation flowed. Someone asked about my latest bridge project. I told a light story about a construction delay caused by a family of ospreys nesting on the scaffolding. People laughed. Mia smiled politely but barely looked at me. Then her father turned to her. "So Mia, you've been awfully quiet about that promotion. Tell us what's new at the studio." Mia straightened, cheeks pink with excitement I hadn't seen directed at me in months. "Actually, big news. The partners offered me creative director for the Chicago office. It's a huge step up, better pay, my own team, real influence." She paused, glanced around the table, then added, "I accepted. I move in January." The room erupted. Congratulations, hugs, her mother tearing up. I sat frozen, fork halfway to my mouth. Chicago. 3 hours from Madison by car. 2,500 miles from Portland. From me. I managed to smile, raised my glass when everyone else did. "That's incredible, babe. Proud of you." My voice sounded steady. Inside, something cracked. Later, after pie, the men were watching football in the den. I wandered into the kitchen to help with dishes. Mia was at the sink with her mother and Lauren. I came up behind her, slipped my arms around her waist like I'd done 1,000 times, whispered in her ear, "We should talk about Chicago later, yeah? Figure out logistics." She stiffened. Then, loud enough for her mother and sister to hear, she said, "Ethan, can you not cling right now? I'm trying to enjoy my night." Her mother paused, sponge in hand. Lauren shot me a quick sympathetic look, then busied herself drying a platter. I laughed it off, stepped back. Sorry. Just excited for you. But Mia turned, drying her hands on a towel, eyes cold. You're always just something. Just checking in. Just wanting to talk. Just needing reassurance. It's exhausting. The kitchen went quiet except for the distant roar of the football crowd on TV. Her mother cleared her throat. Mia. No, Mom. He needs to hear this. Mia faced me fully now. Everyone here has been tiptoeing around it, but I'm done pretending. Ethan, you're safe. You're reliable. You're convenient. But you're also suffocating. I've outgrown you. I don't want to drag you to Chicago like some reluctant puppy. I want to start fresh. Alone. The words landed like individual blows. Convenient. Suffocating. Reluctant puppy. I felt my face burn. Lauren stared at the floor. Her mother looked like she'd been slapped. I opened my mouth, closed it. Managed. You could have told me privately. Mia shrugged. I'm telling you now. In front of family, so there's no confusion later. That's when I heard the slow scrape of wheelchair tires on hardwood. Gram had rolled herself into the kitchen doorway. Everyone turned. Gram's voice was soft but carried like church bells. Mia Elizabeth, is that how your mother and I raised you? To cut a good man down in front of people who love him? Mia flushed. Gram, this isn't. Hush. Gram looked at me, eyes fierce and kind at once. Ethan, come here. I walked over, knees unsteady. She took my hand in both of hers, paper-thin skin, surprising strength. You listen to me, she said, loud enough for the whole kitchen to hear. A woman who needs to diminish a man to feel big is advertising her own smallness. You did nothing wrong by loving fully. That's never pathetic. What's pathetic is cruelty dressed up as honesty. Then she turned to Mia. Child, ambition is fine. Freedom is fine. But you don't buy either by humiliating someone who stood beside you for 8 years. You want a fresh start? Start by being someone worth starting fresh with. The silence that followed was absolute. Mia's eyes filled, but she didn't apologize. She just turned back to the sink. Gram squeezed my hand once more. You'll stay for pie, Ethan. And you'll hold your head up. Dignity isn't given, it's carried. I stayed another hour. Ate a second slice of pecan pie I didn't taste. Said warm goodbyes to cousins who suddenly hugged me tighter than usual. When Mia walked me to my rental car, she tried. Ethan, I didn't mean. I cut her off gently. Yes, you did. And that's okay. You're allowed to want what you want. But I'm allowed to walk away from how you delivered it. I drove to my hotel in Madison that night. Didn't cry until I was in the shower, water loud enough to cover the sound. The next weeks were brutal. Mia moved her things out of our house while I was at work. Left a note on the kitchen counter. I'll Venmo my half of December rent. Take care of Juno. No sorry. No explanation beyond what she'd already said. Friends took sides quietly. Some ghosted. Others checked in too carefully, like I might break. Work became sanctuary. Numbers and steel and gravity don't lie or leave. I didn't beg her to reconsider. Didn't post cryptic quotes online. Didn't drunk text at 2 a.m. Instead, I started small, almost ridiculous acts of reclamation. Bought new sheets that didn't smell like her shampoo. Took Juno on longer hikes. Joined a climbing gym because I'd always wanted to and she'd always said it was dangerous. Signed up for a pottery class on Thursday nights, hands in clay, making bowls that wobbled but held water anyway. 6 months later, I heard through Lauren that Mia was struggling in Chicago. The creative director title came with politics she hadn't expected, long hours, loneliness. She'd started dating someone who sounded flashy and unreliable. Lauren didn't gloat, she just said, Gram asks about you every visit. Says you're the one who got away. In the best way. I didn't feel triumph. I felt quiet. Like I'd survived a storm I didn't see coming. Here's what I learned, and what I want anyone listening to take away. Someone else's cruelty is never a verdict on your worth. It's a revelation of their limits. The moment you stop begging for a seat at a table where you're only tolerated is the moment you start building a table of your own. I'm not over it. Some nights I still miss the version of us that existed before distance turned into indifference. But I no longer confuse endurance with love, or stability with stagnation. I'm dating again. Slowly, carefully. I climb real rock now on weekends. My pottery bowls don't wobble anymore. Juno turned 10 last month. We celebrated with a cupcake and a long walk in Forest Park. And sometimes, when I'm loading the dishwasher alone and a song we used to play comes on, I let myself feel the ache. Then I turn the music up anyway and keep moving. Because dignity isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's just refusing to shrink yourself to fit someone else's diminished view of you. Gram passed the following spring. I flew back for the funeral. Mia was there, thinner, eyes red. She tried to approach me after the service. I nodded politely, said, "I'm sorry for your loss," and walked away to sit with Lauren and her kids. Gram's words still echo when I need them most. Dignity isn't given, it's carried. So I carry it. Every single day.